guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today I got my main man Jake, aka Sir Tag, back on the channel. Tag, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. How's it been, Ash?
It's been going really well, man. I missed you. You've been traveling, you've been busy, you've been doing big things over there. It's good to have you back. I had for a while there, you were on the channel like every week, so it's good to have
Yeah,
you,
man.
man.
I've been really busy, but it's good to be back.
Nice, dude. Well, it's good to have you. Today we're going to talk about, well, it is tag, so what else would we be talking about other than minor poison? And today you have what you told me off air was kind of a hybrid minor poison, but very good control deck as well. Tell us a little bit about the deck, and as we do, well, actually, let's just start out with it. There's 5 legendaries, my free-to-play players. I could hear them collectively moan. Give us some substitutions and tell us a little bit about the deck.
Yeah, man. So this is just an aggressive minor control deck, and it's kind of the future of minor control as we see it. So in this deck, you're gonna have Inferno Dragon, and that's gonna allow you to like counter push really, really easily. And instead of like the Tesla Valkyrie, this deck is a little bit more offensive than that, and it just plays so much better because of that. It's just way more fluid. The card cycle's faster. I enjoy playing it way more than the traditional minor poison decks.
Okay.
So in this deck, if you want to make substitutions, you can definitely sub out the Electro Wizard for a Musketeer. You can sub out the Inferno Dragon for a Tesla, and then you can sub out the Royal Ghost for either a Goblin Gang if you're going to be subbing out the Inferno Dragon. You can drop it even a Valkyrie in there as well. So
okay.
If you're keeping the Inferno Dragon, I would definitely go for like Goblin Gang in place of the Royal Ghost. But if you were not and you're subbing it out for the Tesla, I would end up going in for a Valkyrie.
Okay, that makes sense. Let me see. Where are you? And ooh, you're still creeping close to the 1 million cards won tag, huh?
Yeah, man. The
GG's.
grind is real.
I know, dude. All right, so what I want to do is, you said this first replay against Lucho Gelp actually kind of illustrated some of the fundamentals of this deck. So want to just start with that, and then we'll, at least for the first minute or so, then we can go double time.
Yeah, for sure. So,
all right.
like the main thing that I was talking about earlier is just this deck cycles way better than traditional minor control decks because you're usually hampered by the Tesla. You can't really cycle that thing in the back. You can cycle an Inferno Dragon in the back. This card or this deck cycle is a little bit more offensive with the Royal Ghost or Goblin Gang, whichever one you end up using, and it's a lot more offensive because of that. You're able to facilitate easier pushes, punish pumps quicker, and because of that, you're really able to punish opponents when they make misplays. It's kind of like an aggressive like bridge spam deck, but it still has the control elements of minor poison, and that's why I like this deck so much. So for instance, I'm going to be dropping my Inferno Dragon right now.
Well, once I didn't give the 3-2-1 tag. I didn't give the 3-2-1.
All right, yeah, let's go.
Restart. Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. You know my format, tag.
I'm sorry, man.
I'm just joking. All right, so here we go. We're into the match. I'm about 5 seconds in or so, 8 seconds in. So, yeah, just walk us through.
So what I was saying earlier is you end up having Royal Ghost, you have Valkyrie, you have units that are going to perpetuate a faster cycle and allow you to punish your opponent a lot easier. So when my opponent pumps up, when my opponent makes a misplay, my units are going to counter push and punish them way harder than they traditionally would. It's like a bridge spam deck, but it's also minor control. I love this deck so much. It is probably my favorite deck right now for tournament standard or competitive play or anything like this. I think it's the easiest deck to get 12-win challenges with right now. So as you saw, I did not have to drop a Tesla. I dropped an Inferno Dragon to kill that, and then I swerve him. So what I do right here is I go in for a minor on top of the tower. I poison knowing that he would drop something to defend against Collector, and then I go Royal Ghost opposite lane. So I spread him really, really thin. I use that Inferno Dragon that I had converting defense into offense. I killed the initial Valkyrie with that. Then I go in for a Royal Ghost opposite lane to spread him thin. I go in for a minor on top of the tower to tank for the Inferno Dragon. And then I poisoned the Goblin Gang because that was very obvious that he would drop that there. And he just got completely obliterated. So this deck is extremely volatile, and it's very, very aggressive while still being safe.
That is how you handle a pump or a 3 Musketeer deck. And now, just out of curiosity, do you always use that strategy with the poison on the pump and the minor on the tower? Especially for the first time you do it?
Not always. I mean, you really have to be cognizant of your card cycle and everything, and from this point on it's just an easy W. But what I ended up doing this game was like I realized, hey, I probably have like Ice Golem or Electro Wizard in cycle, and I know that if he goes in for Minion Horde Battle Ram, I'm fine. So that's one of the key things. You have Ice Golem and Electro Wizard in this deck. If they end up dropping a minion horde, you are fine. But if you don't have those in cycle, if you had cycled your Electro Wizard, you cannot do that. If you're down a lot of elixir, you cannot do that. You really have to be cognizant of your opponent's card cycle, what they might have, and sometimes it's safe. In that situation, it was definitely safe for me.
Okay,
So,
it sounds like first play of the game, generally pretty safe to do it in.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, cool, dude. Hey, you know what? I want to do at least one live match this video. I do want to go over like more in depth, like we've been doing on that replay, on other replays, other decks, other situations. But you got to do one live. Kind of walk us through a live match as we see it. Do you mind hopping into a GC or ladder or something?
Yeah, no doubt, man. Let's go right in.
Sweet. All right, cool. So we are in, obviously, the beginning of a GC, so, you know, who knows about the opponent. But still, I like to have one live match. I like to see the decision-making as it's going on. So he starts out with an Inferno Dragon.
Yeah, he's a frisky fellow, man. He ends up dropping an Inferno Dragon in the back, and he looks like a bridge spam. I'm going to go with an Ice Golem to kite opposite lane. And I really like this because I see Lumberjack, I see Inferno Dragon. I'm thinking it's going to be a bridge spam. I think this is going to be a very good matchup for us. Because all I really have to do is play defensive, convert defense into offense, and there's not too much you can do in that situation.
Yeah, so it looks like he's playing the OP Magic Archer bridge spam. So.
Yeah, man. It's like looking like that exactly.
Ooh,
so I'm not going to poison that. I'm just going to relax. He's got a Barbarian Barrel.
What the heck card is that? It must be a new leaked card.
I don't know, man. He's a
Props
little bit
to this
frisky.
guy.
What is he doing?
Props to G Warrior for using one of the worst cards in the game, in my opinion. What, do you agree with me on Barb Barrel?
Yeah, man. For me, I honestly always give props to people that are running whack cards. Like, if you're running Barbarian Barrel, that's something that's innovative. I love seeing innovation in this game. I hope that the new cards like Snowball, Barbarian Barrel, and Royal Hogs, I feel like all three of those need a slight buff, you know?
I
think
do
they
too,
haven't
man.
really found their spot.
Yeah, just yesterday I released my balance suggestion video or something, and I mentioned all of the last basically 4 cards: Barb Barrel, Recruits, and Hogs and Snowball. I feel like all of them landed a little bit flat. But anyway, back to the match here. You can see getting great poison value. What did you use there? Was it an Ice Golem?
No, I kept my Ice Golem. I dropped bats right on top of the Inferno Dragon as it crossed the river, and then I immediately subsequently followed up with a poison. So.
Okay, so this guy, you know, despite him using an incredibly wacky deck and going off meta, again, props to him for doing so, you're still, obviously, it's not won yet. So
no, it's definitely not won, but I'm dictating the flow of the game because I know that he's going to have like a pretty substantial poison bait deck. Like, he's going to have Valkyrie, he's going to have some type of bridge spam that's going to be a little bit scary, and obviously he's going to have Fireball for my Electro Wizard. I have to be cognizant of the fact that he's always going to either have a Witch or a Minion Horde in cycle, and those demand my poisons quite frequently because I don't have Valkyrie since I do have Royal Ghost. It's not the most reliable counter to the Witch. Valkyrie is so much better, so you have to be a little bit wary of that. You really need to sometimes use your poison on it. So
sure,
it's not the easiest for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he's going opposite lane here. This looks like you got it pretty much under control here, Tag. But one thing I wanted to ask is when you send in the miner, like. One thing that I've never really been good at is, or one of the many things I've never been good at, is knowing exactly when to always send in my miner. Like, if you have them in hand, and let's just say Elixir is even, and you don't have another obvious play, like, let's just put it this way. You have miner in hand, and they don't have pump, and Elixir is even, and you have the decision to make like Inferno Dragon cycled behind the tower, or Royal Ghost cycled behind the tower, or just sending in your miner for chip damage. What decision do you make in that?
So precedence with this deck always falls to Royal Ghost. It is so hard to cost effectively defend a Royal Ghost. I love cycling that, so that is the best card to objectively start off the game with. The second best card is definitely going to be Bats or Ice Golem. There's very little repercussions of cycling those cards. And I don't cycle my Ice Golem if I don't have like Electro Wizard or Royal Ghost on the in my hand, because then you don't have any ground defenses or any way of dealing with bridge spam. So you also have to be kind of wary of that. But for the most part, you really just want to be cycling your Royal Ghost. Miner, I sometimes do start off the game with a miner, but I only do that if I have poison in my hand. Because if I cycle a miner and then he goes in for collector, then I'm kind of screwed. But I can eat that and I can realize, hey, I'm going to deny 4 elixir from the collector with my poison, and I'll still just do that -3 trade, and maybe he'll just ignore the miner, but then he's going to eat 500 damage on the tower. So I'm okay with that as long as I have poison in my starting hand.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's go through the let's cover the 12 win here, because now that we did the first win in the GC, might as well do the 12, right?
Yeah.
So against Isaac here, and you told me off air that this one was actually relatively easier, not matchup, but easy win for you, right?
Yeah, so this just kind of highlights how amazing this deck is. The
Let's give the
reason
three,
I
two, one
won.
though. I don't want you to press play tag.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go. All right, now go on.
Solid.
This highlights how amazing the deck is.
Yeah, no, dude, it highlights how amazing the deck is because traditionally I would not be able to punish him if I had Tesla Valkyrie. You can still like play this deck with Tesla Valkyrie, you just can't play it as offensive. Your only win condition is ever going to be like Minor Poison. This deck is super strong and aggressive. It's an aggressive control deck for this reason. I'm going to be able to punish him regardless what he does. As soon as he overcommits, he loses the game. So for instance, right here, I have a wacky card cycle. I realize, hey, I don't want to get fireballed. I don't want to get poisoned. I'm going to be dropping a high miner away from my Electro Wizard to keep it alive. And I end up going in with the Royal Ghost right in front. So I have a little bit of a push going here. I go in for a poison on top of the Electro Wizard. I also clip some of the minions. And then my Royal Ghost ends up getting a couple hits on the tower. And at this point, I'm like, okay, we're playing against a minor P.E.K.K.A deck. That's kind of what I thought. I thought he was running minor P.E.K.K.A because I saw minions. And I saw Electro Wizard, and I saw Miner, and then I see the Inferno Dragon. I'm like, dang, he must have a Mega Knight deck. So this is a pretty good scenario for me. I just want him to play aggressive. Usually what you want to do in a Minor Poison versus Minor Poison is if you can defend against a Minor Poison early on and get counter-pushing units and then going for your Minor, your push is going to be a lot stronger than your opponent's. So this is what I'm going to do here. I realized he went for Minor Poison.
Whoa.
I don't care about that Minor Poison at all. I'm not Minor Poisoning you when that happens. Traditionally, a lot of high-level players will actually forget that Minor Poison versus Minor Poison, it's not all about chip damage, where it kind of is at the highest level, but if your opponent makes one mistake, you apply the aggression. That's one of the things that I learned from B-Rad. When I played a lot of games against him early on, when I was training for CRL and everything, what ended up happening was I was losing games because I would just get wrapped up in the philosophy, this is Minor Poison versus Minor Poison. No one's ever going to break through. It's only going to be minor chip damage. He would actually go in for like Knight plus Electro Wizard and just smack me in like half the games. So it's one of those things that you just have to be cognizant that you do not overspend Elixir. And from this point on, it was a very, very easy game. But it just highlights the principle of how this deck is able to punish you and punish your opponents really, really easily, because obviously Inferno Dragon counter pushes, Tesla doesn't, Royal Ghost is faster than Valkyrie.
Yeah, that's all really, really, really solid advice. That's why we love having you so much as a guest too, because it's just like these are the type of things that the little nuggets that you give us that I really appreciate. You know, like you said, going in for the being aggressive when they make a mistake, but like, how do you know how aggressive is too aggressive? Is that a dumb question?
So in single Elixir, if someone decides to go for like a Minor Poison and then they do not end up like fully killing an Electro Wizard, that is usually when you go in like heavy. If you have a lot of Elixir on the field already, a lot of times I don't even like going in for Minor Poisons because I feel like if I drop a Royal Ghost right in front, that's going to be way better than dropping a Minor on top of the tower. Royal Ghost is a little bit heftier, it does more damage. So sometimes it's just, you really want to feel out your opponent, know what they're, like in single Elixir, if they do a heavy Elixir investment of like 7 Elixir, like Minor Poison is 7 Elixir, it's equivalent of dropping like a Golem or a Giant or a Lava Hound in the back. And if they do that, they automatically lose the game if you apply aggression opposite lanes. So it's kind of the same philosophy or same principle.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's a good comparison too. Do you want to do the bridge spam matchup? Because you said that was a good one.
Yeah. So this one is going to highlight like a very, very interesting aspect of how to play against bridge spam.
Awesome, man. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Awesome. So
against
bridge spam,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Against bridge spam, like, do you remember the Night Witch days when Night Witch bridge spam was the thing?
Yeah, the Vietnam, the OG Vietnam deck.
Okay, yeah. So in a lot of situations, like, I don't think I played this as well as I possibly could have, but I played it intelligently. And I'm kind of proud of just playing safe the entire time. So with this deck, as I said, it's an aggressive control deck. If you find yourself in a bad situation, this deck will bail you out if you make the right decisions, even if you're not playing the best mechanically. So in this situation, I realized, hey, guess what he's going to be doing? He's going to be bridge spamming me. He's probably going to be dropping a lot of units at the river. He has Zappies. He's going to have a pencil or a battle ram, and what you can just do is you can poison and log it back. A lot of times they would drop like 12 Elixir at the river, and if you poison log, drop 6 Elixir, kill everything, like when Night Witch was really, really busted, that actually worked. That was a huge positive Elixir trade. So that was that's one of the main things that you're going to see in this game. When I don't have Electro Wizard or I don't have a great way of ending up killing his pencil or battle ram, I'm actually going to go poison if he has other units clustered around him. So
Okay.
that's something that I did. Also, against this type of deck, you can slow down the pace of the game. You can dictate the flow of the game against the bridge spam player. They only have one speed. They only have four-wheel drive. They can only go 100 miles an hour with their bridge spam. You can actually slow it down. You can be like, I'm going to relax. I'm going to make sure that he doesn't connect with anything. And then I'm going to apply aggression with minor poison when I have an elixir advantage. So at this point, obviously, I made a misplay. I allowed him to actually break through and get a battle ram connection. But that's what I was talking about. Even if I make a slight misplay like that, I will still bounce back because I'm allowed a little bit more leniency with this minor control deck.
Sure, and that was a tough situation too, because I felt like you had to use the E-Wiz against the Royal Ghost, or take a few swings on that left side. So you really didn't have a great answer to the, or left elixir to the
Another
other.
key thing that you just saw was me dropping the miner in the back when I had the Royal Ghost point towards the tower. The Lumberjack was reverted and it was drawn back towards the miner. So whenever I have units going towards my opponent's tower, any supporting units, anything that I'm counter pushing, I love dropping the miner in the back because it draws back their units, and then they have to dictate a response to the miner or the Royal Ghost. And if they try to, like respond to both, either they're going to be over defending or they're just, it's not really a cohesive counter push that they're going to be stockpiling. Or if they don't over defend, obviously, then they're going to take damage from either or. Bare minimum, if they don't respond to the miner, it's 500 damage, and that's a lot over time. So I like that.
And you can, I mean, this might be, this is probably the world's dumbest question, but with this deck, besides the obvious, like, how are you choosing what to defend with and what cards to hold? Like, in this matchup, for example, like, obviously, an E-Wiz could do well against a Battle Ram, a Royal Ghost could do well against a Battle Ram, and some are very obvious, like, in the last matchup, an Inferno Dragon and Ice Golem would be very good against a Mega Knight. But, yeah, so, kind of elaborate a little bit, yeah.
So one of the things that I really like doing is I love getting this guy's like Ice Golem out of cycle. When I get his Ice Golem out of cycle and then I drop bats right on top of his bridge spam or something, it eats everything like a snack. And then if I go in for an Electro Wizard behind or defending, you just saw that play. I dropped my Electro Wizard, I defended my bats, he did not have Ice Golem in front, and then he's like, okay, if I Fireball Zap the Electro Wizard, then I don't have Zap to kill the bats. So that's something that you really want to do in a lot of situations. And I like saving my poison and not going really aggressive with minor poisons when I know that he's going to stockpile like a Zappies push. So those are the two things that I really like doing. I like having his Ice Golem out of cycle and utilizing my bats plus Electro Wizard and staggering them so he's not able to zap like the Electro Wizard plus the bats, but he has to pick, do I want to zap Fireball and kill the Electro Wizard and maybe have my Battle Ram go through, and that's a 6 elixir investment, or do I want to zap the bats and then just let the Electro Wizard go ham on top of all my units? So
yeah, and you know what, another thing, that there's another defensive poison too that we just saw, guys, but another thing too is I'm wondering how often that you play the miner defensively in this deck, like, or on your side of the arena as a tank.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this deck is you have Royal Ghost, right? So in a lot of times, in a lot of situations against Royal Ghost, against opposing Royal Ghost, you're going to need to drop your miner. I've played so many miner games that I'm not very fearful about dropping miners on defense. You have to pull the trigger. If you're late, then the bandit gets a dash. The Royal Ghost might lock onto your tower. You just can't have that happen. So better safe than sorry, especially with this control deck that can apply a lot of aggression and just get you back in the game. I feel like dropping the miner on defense in some situations is definitely beneficial, and I don't see people do it near as often as they should.
Okay, yeah, I kind of observed the same thing, and obviously I'm not watching a ton of players out there, but I do notice that pros like yourself often tend to use those defensive miners a lot more than I think your average player does, so it's probably something that a lot of people watching can kind of take into account when they pick up a deck like this. Tag, dude, those were really incredible explanations and replays. Do you have any kind of final thoughts about this deck before we let you go?
Yeah, so there's one other thing. So Inferno Dragon is really, really strong in this meta, and when you're having to cycle it against like any type of tank deck, you really have to make sure that you're like careful. If it gets too close to the river, one of the key things that you gotta do, you gotta keep this in mind in every single aspect, is you gotta make sure you protect your Inferno Dragon. So what I like doing is if I know that I'm playing against like a 3 Musketeer player and they're running 3 Musketeer Giant or something, I love like preemptively dropping an Ice Golem. So if you preemptively drop an Ice Golem right in front and they drop Minion Horde, then you're able to drop Electro Wizard and completely kill it before they're able to melt the Inferno Dragon that's killing the Giant or the Golem or whatever they have. So the biggest thing with this is I don't like cycling my Inferno Dragon too often. You got to make sure that it's fighting on your side of the map, but if you're forced to cycle it, one of the things that you really have to do is protect it against any like swarm units that are going to be close to the river. So that's
Okay,
one of my
cool.
closing thoughts. And I think that's one of the most important things with this deck. We already covered the miner, using that on defense. I think the Inferno Dragon and protecting it is equally important, if not more important.
Got it. So Miner, don't be afraid on defense. Protect your Inferno Dragon. Don't cycle if at all possible. And cycle as many and play as many Royal Ghosts as possible throughout the match.
Yeah, it's literally one of the best cards in the game. I think that is just incredibly, incredibly solid. Obviously, if you don't have it, Valkyrie works really, really well. I think Valkyrie needs a nerf, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just not as offensive as the Royal Ghost. So that's why I prefer Royal Ghost in this deck.
All right, Tag. Well, hey, thank you again for coming on the channel. Anything that we should know about coming up on your YouTube channel? I know you're still going strong with the daily uploads. Props to you, man. It's not hard. It's not easy, I should say. It's very hard to do.
It's definitely easy from a day-to-day basis, but when you go on trips and stuff and then you're not here, it's really hard to get like 5 days ahead. It's difficult. So for me, I've just been having a lot of fun. I just recently joined Fnatic as a content creator and analyst, and
congrats. How's that going so far? Good?
What?
How's that going so far? Good?
It's great, man. I love the community. I love the people that I'm working with, and I couldn't ask for more. When you have people that you really, really respect and like, that's all that matters. I had a great time in Nova, and I'm ready to have a great time in Fnatic. So I'm in.
Awesome, man. Well, they got a really, really good content creator, pro player, and an analysis, everything out of you. You're like
Dude.
Well, everything all wrapped up in one package. So, dude, best of luck there, and thanks again, man. We'll have you on hopefully sooner next time rather than later.
No doubt. Thanks for having me, Ash.
No problem, Tag. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you check out Tag's Twitch and his YouTube links and his social media all in the description below, along with my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. Check out him as well. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.